Okay. Hello, everybody. We are going to be talking about graphing now, and this is an important part of data mining. So you need to know how to work the basics of graphing in R. He says human beings are remarkably adept at discerning relationships from visual representation. So we can do a lot of analysis, but actually with our eyes we can see relationships that it may be hard to find using analysis. He says data analysis need to look at their data, and this is one area where R shines. Okay, now let's try this code, which you've basically, I think we've seen all of it except for the title. We didn't use that code before, but let's try and put this into R. So I'm going to stop the video. I'm sorry, you're going to stop the video, and then type in this into R. Okay, when I do that, I get this picture, which I assume you get the same picture. Let's examine the code a little bit. Okay, so the first statement, he says, attaches the data frame empty cars. Remember that there are various data frames that come for free with R, and one of them is called empty cars. And you can remember what the attach function does. It allows us then to use the variable names without prefacing them with empty cars $. So if we didn't have attach, instead of WT here, we'd have to write empty cars $, and then WT, and we'd have to write empty cars $, and then MPG. So this is just a way not to have to do that. Okay, so then we plot, which we've done before. We're plotting this variable versus this variable. Now let's see, which is the x-axis? So weight is the x-axis. So the first one, as we would expect, is the x-axis. Okay, here's the AB line function, and this is a little bit different than what we've done before. Before we would have done something like this. So instead of doing this here, before we would have first assigned the linear model to a variable and then put that in AB line. So I think you did something similar to that before. So I would do then next something like this. Okay, so we actually could do this in one step here. So instead of first doing a linear model or a regression model and assigning it to a variable and then putting that variable in AB line, they just do the whole thing inside AB line. So it gives us the same thing. So when I hit enter, I still get the same picture over here. Okay, so that shouldn't be too difficult or new. However, this is new, although it's not too hard to understand. It's just giving a title to this plot. And of course we can see the title on the plot. Let's read his comments. The first statement attaches the data frame empty cars. The second statement opens a graphics window. So this statement opens a graphics window and generates a scatter plot between automobile weight on the horizontal axis and miles per gallon on the vertical axis. The third statement adds a line of best fit. Okay, so we've seen that before. And the fourth statement adds a title. The final statement here detaches the data frame. In R, graphs are created in this interactive fashion. So we do one line at a time. You can save your graphs via code or through GUI menus. GUI, remember, means the graphical user interface. In other words, using these menus up here, or you can use the code to do it. To save a graph via code, sandwich the statements that produce the graph between a statement that sets a destination and a statement that closes that destination. Now, we've seen this idea before. For example, the following will save the graph as a PDF document named mygraph.pdf. So remember, we did this before. So we put this on top and we put this at the end. So let's try that. So you try it first and then pause, and then I'll do it here. Okay, and of course, where is it going to end up? It's going to end up in your working directory. So I'll close this and try it again. So when I run the code, I do get this PDF, which is in my working directory. So I got these messages, which means that some of the, I'm not quite sure why, but some of the variables are being masked. But anyway, it worked, and I forgot where my working directory was, so I tried to type this in, get WD, and then I remembered where the working directory was. So we created our first graph there. In addition to PDF, you can use functions like this, we've seen this before, to save graphs into other formats. Note the Windows meta file format is only available on the Windows platform. This one here, which I don't even know what it is available on the Windows platform. See Chapter 1 for more details on sending graphic output to files. Now, in addition to doing it with code, we can also do it by the GUI. But it's different on Windows than it is, I guess, on Mac and so on. So I'll just show you Windows, but he tells you how to do it here on Mac, and I don't know about Linux, but I'll just do it for Windows. So he says just do file and save. So to test this out, I'll run the code again because I deleted my picture here. So I'll just run this code again. So now I've run the code again, and I'll also close the detach here. And now here. So this time I'll try it as a JPEG, 100% quality, and I'll call it regression example, and I'll look for it, and I can open it up, and here it is. Okay, last thing is creating a new graph by issuing a high-level plotting command such as plot, which is what we've been doing. There's also one for histograms or box plot. So issuing these kinds of commands will usually overwrite the previous graph, so we'll lose the previous graph. So the question is, how can you create more than one graph and still have access to each? So let's consider that in the next video. So we want to create more than one graph. So if I now do histogram as a command, I'm going to lose the previous picture that I had here. Or if I do plot again, I'm going to lose this picture. So the question is, how can I keep this picture but create another graph at the same time? So let's come back and do that in the next video.